That, of course, has to do with the tragic incident that happened in Tirupati a couple of days ago. It's been 48 hours. 6 people were killed in that stampede and several others were left injured. This happened at a token counter just ahead of what is an auspicious day, the Vaikunta Ekadashi. The tragedy has brought to the fore many lapses, whether it's the absence of any ambulances around the area, whether there was a lack of barricades, crowd management, all of this really coming to the fore after this terrible tragedy. But what has indeed raised eyebrows is a remark by the Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan, who also visited the site yesterday along with the Chief Minister Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. Pawan Kalyan's view was that it's time to do away with VVIP darshan or VVIP culture at religious places and adopt a common man-oriented approach. He says it's this VVIP approach. So all the officials are geared towards VVIP darshan. All the officials are really paying attention to the VVIPs who are coming for darshan. Therefore, they take the eye off the wheel, as it were, when it comes to the common man or the common woman who wants to get a darshan of the Lord. So the question then is, was this undue focus on VVIPs that actually cost 6 lives in Tirupati? Or is Pawan Kalyan missing the tree for the woods?
Every temple should become from VIP focus to centric to common man focus. That's what we are looking at.
It is an incursion when viewed on the anvil of equality. It should have no place in society, much less in religious places.
Okay, let's have the straight face-off tonight on Brass Tacks. Karthik Yellapragada is the spokesperson of the YSRCP. Jyotsna Tirunagari, spokesperson of the TDP. Jyotsna, so Pawan Kalyan says that the reason why this has happened is because of undue focus on VVIP culture, VVIP darshan. Who stopped? Who stopped the officials of the Devasthanam from taking the focus away from VVIP darshan and focus on the common man? In fact, their focus should have been on the common man.
See, definitely. First of all, it's an untoward incident, unfortunate incident that has happened in Tirupati day before yesterday. And Honorable Deputy Chief Minister is very, very apt and very correct when he said that the VIP culture, not only in Tirumala, in many other temples also we see the same culture, and that's probably the crux of the problem. Also, we believe in that. Jacob, we are not going to shy away saying that no, that's not the problem. But again, see, things cannot happen in one day, one thing. And here, even if you see this particular thing compared to the previous government, Jacob, I'm giving you the numbers, Jacob. Compared to the previous government and I'm sorry, it's not the government, the previous TTD board. This new board that has come up in the past 2 months, 1.5 months that they have been in there, the number of VIP break darshanas has come down when compared to the previous board. First thing. Second thing. Days of important auspicious days that we are talking about, we have stopped all sorts of Ajita Sevas, everything has been stopped. And yes, but again, I also believe personally as the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister that the entire, removed from any temple, not just Tirumala, Tirupati, but I believe all the temples.
No, so Mr. Karthik, what the state government is claiming is that they've taken prompt action right after this incident. The Tirupati DSP has been suspended, the TTD director has been suspended, Tirupati SP has been transferred, the TTD JEO has been transferred, the Chief Vigilance Officer of the TTD has also been transferred. What more do you want the state government to do?
Jacob, lot more. Thanks for having me in the show. So I'll put some numbers as Jyotsna was presenting, so some perspective numbers, right? In the last few years, 20 lakh tickets have been sold seamlessly. 6.5 lakh tickets have been sold seamlessly in a period of 10 days. This is a pure mismanagement, and then the board had to be held accountable just not the bureaucrats who are responsible. It's the board. Where is Mr. B.R. Naidu during the incident, after the incident, where we see even today, we see it's so painful to hear that, okay, if I say sorry, will the lives get will be back? And this is such an illogical or irrational statement that one board chairman can give. And not only that, Jacob, look, one more important point that I want to bring here is yesterday's issue, right? BNS 194 case has been filed. When we've inquired about that case, inquired about that number, it's between that case will be lodged when the two people fight against themselves and creating a chaos. And the magnitude of that case would result only in 1 month and 1,000 rupees of the crime. But whereas it should be BNS 105, which is a culpable murder or a homicide, which is not conspired to be a murder, but intentionally it is due to recklessness and ineligibility of a certain institution. Where
No,
what happens is when all the
Karthik, we saw this whole thing about culpable homicide not amounting to murder. The same charges were leveled on Mr. Allu Arjun. It was not any fault of his that there was a stampede at the theatre premises. It's the same equivalent. I mean, what can the board chairman, who probably sits in Hyderabad or wherever else he sits, what can he do if there is a stampede?
No, there's another other point for this,
Can I have a
Jacob.
word?
What happens is what used to happen is there has been a feedback mechanism when such a magnitude of people were supposed to come in the history. There is a feedback mechanism that goes to the board and to the EO's office, and then there is a forward and feedback mechanism in preparation of logistics, HR, police, the vigilance, and many more departments together so that they're prepared for such a magnitude of event. Where none of that has happened. We held the board accountable, and
Okay.
it's so sad to see B.R. Naidu saying that if I say sorry, will the life be returned back? And Pawan Kalyan uttering
Jyotsna, I mean,
completely
that's a
different
fair
words
point. I mean,
than-
ultimately, the buck has
Jacob.
to stop at the top, and the buck has
Jacob,
to stop with the chairman of the
Absolutely.
TTD.
Yes.
Ultimately, the crowd management was the
Jacob,
responsibility of the
Jacob,
board. What were they doing?
Absolutely.
Yes. Jacob, let me clarify certain points here. One thing is, Mr. B.R. Naidu was very much there in Tirumala, Tirupati on the day when the incident has happened. First thing, he was there for the past almost 3-4 days. Before, prior only, he was there. I think from second or third onwards, he was there in Tirumala itself. And he was continuously going and monitoring all the queue lines that were, the counters that were set up and everything. Having said all this, Jacob, the moment the issue has happened, immediately, I think within half an hour, 40 minutes, B.R. Naidu Garu has given a statement. Immediately, there was a press statement from him from Tirumala stating that what has happened is unfortunate incident and he is sorry about this. He has said it on day one. Immediately, the very next day, the Honorable Chief Minister of the State, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, went to each and every injured person, each and every bereaved family, told them the incident was untoward and we are sorry, we'll take care and we will make sure that you have a proper darshana of God. And that was actually fulfilled today. And again, the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Sri Pawan Kalyan Garu, also extended his apologies to the entire devotee fraternity. Again, today, when there was a question that was raised during one of his press conferences, because since yesterday, continuously on social media and many of the opposition party leaders have been constantly saying the same thing again and again. That's when B.R. Naidu Garu said that, see, just by merely saying sorry or something, it's not the case. We are taking care of the family. We are with the families. And we extend our continuous and extended support to the families, and the board is taking the responsibility.
No, but this idea of
Yeah,
VVIP darshan
Yes.
sort of taking the focus away, Mr. Karthik, that's something that the Vice President also alluded to some
Yes.
days back, where he said that VIP culture should have no place in society, least of all in a religious place. The very idea of VIP darshan militates against divinity. Now, the point is, when there are VIP darshans, the focus of the administration, focus of the board, focus of the people who are managing the crowds goes to the VVIPs and not the ordinary people who should be managed.
Yeah, while agreeing to that, Jacob, the objective, the whole issue today is merely not about VVIP or VIP. This is Vaikunta Ekadashi, where roughly about 120,000 people were administered to go for darshan, and they have been allowed into the queues of T minus 24, 27 hours, where they're supposed to be, sent inside just for T minus 4 hours, where only 4 policemen were there. And also, I'd like to bring to your notice, Jacob, Chief Minister was visiting Kupam between 6 and 8, and all the bandobast of police were there, and only 4, police were there. And what's happening? The problem is the focal points of the governments are elsewhere. What happened is, just a couple of days back, there was a big cinema function where a minister couple of times have been there the previous day, the same day, and then IAS officers were there, and the whole governance was there to administer the same amount of people for a cinema function. Then why there is a disparity towards a divinity function when we already know Vaikunta Dwara Darshan attracts such a big
again,
crowd?
when you say VVIP darshan, this also needs to be factored in. Chief Minister has a bandobast, the Deputy Chief Minister has a bandobast. I believe the unfortunate incident also happened when there was a big political rally that was happening in Andhra Pradesh on that same day. Bandobast was taken away for that. Ultimately, I don't know if what Karthik is saying is true, but if there were only 4 policemen to manage such a large crowd, then whose failure is it? Surely it has to be the administration's failure.
And that is on record, Jacob. This is not what, and you can see it live,
Mr.
Jyotsna.
Karthik, please. I think, Jacob, we have not shied away from our, holding even our own administration responsible. I think we should be understanding that. We haven't shied away. We have, in fact, immediately a preliminary report has come up. We have ordered for judicial inquiry. The officials who were on ground, who were supposed to be taking care of all this, were immediately suspended. 2 of them, 3 of them were transferred, and still another judicial inquiry is ordered into it. And again, I talk about swift action taken by the Honorable Chief Minister and the Council of Ministers and the Deputy Chief Minister.
No, but ma'am, that action has been taken after the incident. Question is, why was that action not taken? Who was responsible to allocate just 4 policemen for this massive crowd?
Jacob, even before that, if you remember, I think the thing would also be, the press meet would also be there in the TTD website, the Twitter account itself, just hours before the entire thing, the continuous deployment of staff, how much, where, everything was mentioned. And again, I'll tell you one more thing here. Ms. Gautami Reddy, who was transferred yesterday, 5:38, she received a message from the chairman's office saying that the crowd is, increasing there. Kindly take care of the deployment of proper staff there. And she said, sure, please. Her response was at 5:39, sure, please. But she did not respond after that. Proper action was not taken after that. That's the reason we have held her accountable.
Okay.
So once things have come out,
I have to wrap up. There's a peculiar problem. In this case, it happened, unfortunately, in the context of a temple premises. But whether it is concerts, we've seen what happened at the Diljit Dosanjh concerts across different cities. There is a problem of managing crowds in this country, whether it is the volume of crowds or whether it is that we have crowd management, lack of crowd management experience and expertise. I don't know what the issue is, but clearly where there are, chances or events or venues where large crowds come together, somehow our management is found wanting in how those crowds are managed. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to both our political guests for joining us. Our hearts and prayers are with the victims' families, those who've unfortunately succumbed to their injuries in the stampede that happened at the Tirupati Devasthanam just a couple of days ago.